Southbound, baby, Southbound. Now, watch this film without knowing too much about it. All I knew was that it was separate stories in this film, different stories, kind of like VHS. So I love the VHS film, so I was all up for this motherfucker. And with me, if the trailer looks pretty good and the movie seems interesting, I'll watch it. I'll be the judge. I don't care how highly it's rated. I don't care how low it's rated. I don't give a shit. I'll definitely watch it. Now, Southbound obviously refers to either the road to hell or a part of hell itself. You know, you look at the cover, it's a pentagram pointing to hell. The title, Southbound, and once you start watching it, you realize that these people are either in a part of hell or on the way to hell. I don't know. It's some sort of strange highway, interlocking. It's got something to do with hell, and goddamn it, you got to watch it. You got to watch it probably more than once, and then you'll have an opinion, and we can talk about it in the comments section. The film opens up with a story of two guys, Mitch and Jack, who had a hell of a night. Whatever's going on, you don't know at this stage, but they're covered in blood, they're shaken up, and they're trying to get away from these alien-looking creatures. So whenever they're driving in their pickup truck, you look out the window and there's like some strange floating creature. It kind of looks like a floating skeleton from the ribs up, and then he's got like blood veins and vessels and shit hanging down, and they're kind of floating there. It looks very alien at first, but once they get a bit closer, you see some of the, well, average CGI. You know, the CGI isn't the best, but we don't expect it to be for a low-budget flick like this. But it's still decent. They definitely look a lot better further away, but once they come in close, it's still a pretty cool concept. Yeah, I definitely have to give it to them. It definitely did look pretty cool. Anyway, what I like about this film is the segments aren't introduced by either like a crypt keeper in Tales of the Crypt, or either like people putting in VHS tapes into a VHS player. It's just, it's the stories interlock. So when Mitch and Jack's story finishes, a door closes in a motel room, and a maid goes past with her little cart or her little trolley, and she puts a do not disturb sticker on the door, and she keeps on pushing, and the neighbor opens up their door, and we're introduced to the next story, if you know what I mean. So it kind of interlocks, it flows as one, and I really like that. I think that if they make another VHS film, which I hope they do, I hope they kind of interlock them like they do here in Southbound. I think it's a great effect. And when the second segment begins, it's actually my favorite segment of this film. It's three young rock chicks who are out on the road, obviously living the party life. They're going to a gig, driving in a van, and they break down on the highway, and they're picked up by an innocent couple, or at least we assume that they're innocent. They look like, I don't know, kind of like religious freaks or something like that, churchgoers. There's something strange about them. I don't give a shit what anyone says. I knew there was something strange about them. One of the girls wasn't too keen to go with them, but they were stuck in the middle of nowhere. It was like something like 40 miles away from the nearest town or gas station. So obviously they're in the shit, and one of the girls persuades the other two to go with them. It isn't long from then when we realize that something is not right with this family. The food they serve, their weird family members at the table asking all sorts of weird questions, behaving strangely. Something ain't fucking right here. One of the girls didn't want to eat the meat. The other two did, and then they start sort of acting like these people. Obviously, something's going on, and then we find out that there's some sort of initiation process into the family, and this one girl's trying to escape. I'm not going to ruin it. I don't want to ruin the whole thing for you there, boys. I probably said a bit too much, but yeah, definitely a very, very cool story, this one, and it got me thinking, what the fuck is going on? And at 3 a.m., which is the time when I sort of start getting sleepy and I can't focus on video games, I'll start watching a movie, and usually I'll go to sleep halfway through or just in the beginning of a movie, but this was so goddamn good. The second segment got me so interested that I freaking stayed up the whole night and watched the whole lot. The third segment was really cool too. It's like a strange sort of surgical type segment. I don't know. What happens is we're back on the highway, as the whole film takes place on this highway, and Lucas, I believe his name is driving home, and he's on the phone to his wife talking about what dress she should wear on some particular night when he gets home, and you know, we've all done that sort of thing. We miss our partners, we're driving home, and then he hits somebody on the highway, and This young lady is in a lot of trouble. She's almost dead. She's all bent, making strange sounds. You can hear bones breaking, and she's like in big trouble. He calls 911, does the right thing, even though he does think about driving off. He gets in touch with some lady who puts him straight onto medical assistance, and this medical person that is on the phone to gives him pretty specific directions. She tells him to move her, which is weird straight away. So he puts her in the car, drives to the nearest town. This town is a complete ghost town. There's no one there. He goes into a hospital. No one's in the hospital. This medical professional puts him through to a surgeon. So now this surgeon is explaining to him what to do, and then it's quite a graphic scene with surgical type stuff. He actually does all this shit that he's told to do. It's unreal. He actually does go that extra mile to try and save this young lady. That's a really, really cool segment as well. I wouldn't say that it's my favorite, but I thought that it was really cool. For some reason, I was just really drawn into the second segment with those three rocker chicks. I don't know why. Really, really liked it. Segment number 4 is Danny, who's looking for his sister. He's been looking for her for 13 years. The evil number, 13 years. Maybe it took 13 years in order for him to actually find her in this weird, hellish town, southbound of this evil highway that's like the road to hell or part of hell. I don't know. Like I said, you guys will have to make that decision for yourselves. I'll be happy to discuss it because I have my theories, which I don't really want to reveal right here because I want all of you to watch the movie. Some of you probably have, a lot of you still haven't, so check it out. Definitely worth a watch. But anyway, back to Danny. Danny's trying to save his sister. He barges into a bar that's clearly being operated by people that aren't exactly, human, and he holds it up, kidnaps the bartender, and forces him to take him to his sister, who he actually finds working in a very, very strange place, but she seems happy there and doesn't seem too keen to leave. So from there, Danny tries to persuade her to go along with him, and once again, no spoilers, I'll leave it there, but another pretty cool segment. It kind of gives you an impression of what's going on here. After this segment, I kind of had a few ideas as to what is actually happening on this highway. At the end, again, we're treated to a pretty cool interlocking sequence where a simple glance at another young lady is kind of how the story moves into the next segment, the last segment now, which goes into familiar territory of home invasion. It follows this family who were staying at a hotel, but now they've arrived home. They're very, very normal, kind of a peaceful type family who are about to have dinner, open up a glass of wine, relax, and all of a sudden some masked criminals barge in. And this is actually where it gets really interesting because the end of the film should actually be the start of the film. So a lot of answers are given to us at the end in this final segment. So you'll see what I mean. I don't want to ruin it for you all. I want you all to watch it. But the final segment interlocks with the very beginning. So theoretically, you could watch this first and then you'll sort of know what's going on a lot better than watching it the way the theatrical cut is. But then again, I think you should watch it that way because you like to question yourself. You like to think. You like to, not quite know what's going on and put all the pieces together. Anyway, definitely check this out, guys. What I didn't know was that this was actually about 20 minutes into the film. I actually thought this feels a lot like VHS. It reminds me of the VHS films. And then after I watched the film, it was revealed that some of the VHS directors were actually involved in this. And then I was like, it was no wonder why it felt like VHS because some of the directors were involved. So if you guys like the VHS type movies, you'll definitely like this. And I think it's even better the way it interlocks the stories and doesn't actually separate the segments with some lame crypt keeper or inserting VHS tapes into a VHS player, whatever it is. But you guys let me know in the comments below what you thought, whether you've seen the film, whether you plan on seeing it. If I have to rate this out of 13, which is what I rate my films, as I am banning 13, the evil 13 years it took Danny to find his sister, I'll have to give this 10.5. The weak CGI elements are definitely present at the start and at the finish. Some of the segments were really, really good. Some of them are a little bit weaker, but overall, it's definitely worth a watch, and I definitely want to rate my movies quite strictly, so definitely worth the watch. 10.5 out of 13, quite a high scoring movie. Go check it out, boys and girls. Give me a thumbs up if you like this and if you want me to talk about more horror movies and movies in general. Otherwise, make sure you subscribe and I'll see you all again real soon.